What up, gamers? It is Will777JP, and we are back. And y'all, the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct just happened, ended about 28 minutes ago, and I wanted to make a quick video with my first impressions, with my thoughts about the show. If you guys would like to hear more about this topic, just let me know down in the comment section, and I'll make a lengthier video. But I'm gonna talk about specs. I'm gonna talk about pricing. I'm gonna talk availability, release date, and what I'm gonna start off with is I'm gonna be talking about the show itself and the flow of it, because I'm a huge fan of these shows. But the show started at 8 a.m. on the dot, my time, ended right around 9 a.m. my time as well. So it was almost an hour to the minute. But they gave us a lot of great information. It was actually better than I thought it would be. In the beginning, they showed Mario Kart World, which, I was like, okay, we knew Mario Kart was coming. Show me the hardware. But then I had to remind myself, like, dude, the hardware means nothing without the games. Let Nintendo do what they do. And, after that, my kind of, I don't want to say anxiety, but my expectations kind of started to settle a little bit. And I'm glad that they did, because I had a great time with the show. Mario Kart World is definitely a step up, in my opinion, to all the previous Mario Kart games. I think it's the first open world Mario Kart game ever. And Nintendo started off this thing with the game, but also showing the social aspect of it, which I do appreciate. And while showing that game, they showed the features that they're going to have now. The big one is the C button, which is the share button. Now, with the share button, you can play, I think it's up to 4 people on a game. And they also showed the Nintendo camera that you can hook up to the Switch, and built-in mics. So pretty cool stuff, right? Some of the specs, right, that they show. Oh, before I get into the specs, after that, they showed the specs of the game, of the Switch 2. They showed it. They gave us some specs, and then they went back into the games. They went into third party. They went into exclusives, and then at the end, they showed us some upcoming games that are exclusive to Nintendo, that are built by Nintendo in partnership with third party developers. Right. Like at the end, they showed Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment, which is basically a Zelda IP. Um, the biggest thing that I got from this, besides pricing, specs, and all that, is the last couple years Nintendo kind of has been slow on game releases. Now we know why, because there are so many games dropping to the Switch 2 in the first 6 months of it being out. A lot of games. I mean, there's many that are coming out day one, month one, which was super impressive, right? And we knew it's time. I mean, the Switch has been out for 8 years. The sales are dwindling, so perfect timing by Nintendo to come out with this thing. So let's talk specs real quick. So you're gonna get a 7.9-inch screen. The regular Switch had a 6.2. The Switch OLED had a 7.0. The disappointing part to me was that it's an LCD screen and not an OLED. I have a Switch OLED, I have a regular Switch, and the difference is huge. So that's disappointing. Great things that I like: 2 USB ports. You can charge it from the top, you can charge it from the bottom. Awesome. 256 gigabytes of memory is what's coming on the Switch. The the resolutions: 1080p up to 120 frames per second, 4K 60 frames per second. That is impressive, y'all. I mean, I was joking around with my friends that Nintendo's gonna do 35 frames per second and talk about it's an upgrade. So that was super cool to see. The Joy-Con sticks are, or Joy-Con controllers, are super impressive. One of the games they showed was Civilization 7 coming to the Switch, and that is a game I've always wanted to play, but I've never did, even though it's available on console, even though it's available on PC. But the reason I never played on console, because I'm a console guy, I don't like PC, is because I feel like the controller would not do a game like that justice. I just feel like it's not enough to really get the mobility down on how I would like to play the game. So this Joy-Con mouse feature is exactly what I would like. I don't want it to be a PC, but I needed to have some PC features in order to play that game. So that was super impressive to me. Um, they showed a bunch of games, guys, a bunch of games. With the Switch 2 itself, right? It looks like an upgrade in every single which way that you would want this upgrades to be, right? But even more impressive with the Switch 2 is that the games that you're getting. I mean, you're gonna get games from Soft. You're gonna get Street Fighter 6, Split Fiction, EA Madden, FC Club, Hogwarts Legacy, um, Tony Hawk 3 and 4, Yakuza 0, Hades 2, Elden Ring, right? FromSoft is even doing an exclusive with the Switch this time around. So that tells you that the Switch now has the power to compete with the big boys, right? With the PlayStation and Xbox, which now is bringing in some questions to me, right? Before we said that the Switch is not a competitor of PlayStation. Is the Switch 2 now a competitor of PlayStation? In my opinion, yes, it is. You can play it docked, you can play it handheld. PlayStation, you can do the same thing, except that you need a PlayStation 5, you need a PlayStation Portal. Pricing for the Switch 2 was not announced in the show, but we did get pricing. And here it is. Reported by Warrior64, Switch 2 launches June 5th at $449.99, bringing new forms of game communication to life. Pre-order begin April 9th. Not just $449.99, but also they have a Mario Kart bundle, which will be $500. Let me see if I can find that price up here somewhere. All right, here we go. Reported by Shinobi602. Switch 2 plus Mario Kart bundle is $500, which is actually a pretty good deal considering that the game itself is selling for $80. Yes, you heard that right, $80. And we get that $80 price from Jeff Keighley. He posted a tweet for $80. Oh, that's tough, man. So if you're trying to buy both, $500 is a good deal. Before I get into my opinion of the price, I also want to say Nintendo sat back and learned from PS5 generation, right? We get these remakes and remasters, you pay a $10 upgrade. Nintendo's doing the same thing. So you'll be able to buy, an upgrade. We don't know the pricing on that yet, but like for Zelda and other games where you can upgrade it from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. Dope, right? Because you don't have to buy the whole game again. But we don't know what the pricing is. Also, during this showcase, they show the Pro 2 controller, which adds basically a share button to it. Otherwise, outside of that, it looks identical, but I have to look more into it and get more information on that. They have the camera as well. So yeah, overall, I like the Switch 2. I like what it's doing. The impressive part to me is how it's going to be able to run all these third-party games, these rated M games like Elden Ring. They're coming out with Hitman. They're coming out with a 777 for Hitman. So Nintendo is doing what I wish they would have done during the N64 to GameCube era. The reason I went to PlayStation is because I wanted rated M games because I was a teenager, right? And I didn't want to stick around for Nintendo. Or I didn't want to stick around for rated E games that you can only play that. Now, as the GameCube went on, they got more games, but in the beginning part of it, I didn't see any that I was interested in. Grand Theft Auto was a big one. Price $449.99, man. $449.99. I think that is a little bit too pricey for me. I will not be buying this thing day one just based off the information that I know right now and for the price it's selling for. Now, for Christmas, maybe. If my son wants one, I'll buy it for him. He wasn't too excited for the Switch 2 because he hasn't been playing the Switch 2 as much. He's been playing PS5 and Series and Xbox. So we will see what he says. But I just don't think that it's worth it to me, man. Now it's gonna be different for everybody. It's probably gonna be worth it for you. It's probably a day one for you. You're probably super hyped for it. I was more hyped for the show because I like, it's video games, and I like that it was just another thing that was coming from the video game world. But I'm just not impressed with the price at all. Now, like I said, that may be different for you, but I do like the specs, man. The whole 1080p up to 4K, 60 frames per second, 120 frames, like that's all cool. The Joy Cons, I mean, those those controllers. I always say when you do a next gen console, the controllers have to match. Nintendo has done that, PlayStation has done that, Xbox has not. And you can definitely tell a difference. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see what Nintendo's gonna bring, man. They have a game called Welcome to it's called Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour, and it reminded me of Astrobot. How Astrobot kind of showed the internal workings of the PS5, and you can go collect PS4, PS3, PS2, PS1 stuff. That seemed very similar, except that this game is more like a tour of the features of the Switch 2, which I would definitely like to play so I can learn more. But besides the specs, the other thing that impressed me the most was the third parties, man. I mean, you got Borderlands 4 coming out. You're gonna have the EAs coming out, the Maddens, the football clubs, the Hades, the Street Fighters. That's impressive to me because now, and that's why I say that the Switch 2 seems more like a competitor to the PS5. Because if you're in the market for a PS5, right, or a Switch, the Switch is actually a capable thing. Now you can play third party games that you couldn't play on there before. So that's impressive. And I feel like Nintendo is not going to slow down on that. They're going to be expanding on that. So when we start seeing the Call of Duties, right? Those big games coming in Nintendo, Grand Theft Auto, who knows, right? Now, we don't think the Switch can handle it as of now, but we do not know. It doesn't have to be just like a PS5 or PC version, but if it's a downgraded version like they've done before on the Switch 1, I think that's a lot to get people to maybe go with the Switch 2. So we will see. I'm excited for that. Hopefully that puts a little bit of fire under Sony's ass. Because let's be real, Sony first party has been minimal the last couple years. They've been working on a lot of different stuff, but this whole freaking live service push has definitely taking them in the wrong direction. And I think that they realize that and now they're trying to correct. So I hope that it puts a fire under them and they start going to work and putting out some of these games because Nintendo's coming in strong. Now, I think that at this price point, the hardcore Nintendo fans are in it for the win already. But I think it's going to take a little bit more convincing for the general population, right? The third party games are going to be a huge boost to that, and I think Nintendo's going to do very well because of that. I think you're going to get a lot of the casual gamers to bite into the Switch 2 at this price because of those third party games. If it was just the first party games, the Marios, the Zeldas, the Donkey Kongs, I don't think it would be enough. But with the third party offering, I think it's enough to get people to go in when they would have bought an Xbox or a PlayStation. Specifically now that Xbox is kind of on their way out of the hardware business. So we will see. But there y'all have it, man. I just want to make a quick little video of my first reactions. If you want me to go into more details, talk about the games, just let me know in the comment section that you would like to see that. But there y'all have it, man. Switch 2, $450, $500 with the Mario Kart World Bundle, 4K, 100 up to 100 up to 4K up to 120 frames, man. Huge, huge, huge. But there y'all have it. We'll catch you in the next one. Keep it gaming.